how much revenue were each studio doing?
Was doing in excess of $100,000 a month.
$100,000 a month. So you had a 50% profit on that one.
I did, yeah.
You had 3 Pilates studios under the Club Pilates brand that were always doing well, pumping out a good amount of cash and profit, and you had a great culture, great business. If you could do it again, what would you do differently? Welcome to another episode of the Behind Gym Doors podcast, formerly known as the GSD Show. This is technically number 2 of the new brand Behind Gym Doors podcast. Today I have Sheetal Gutagoli. Pronounced it right, yes?
Yes.
Pretty close. I mean, close as I feel like I can get in that round.
That's
but
great.
I've known Sheetal for, I feel like it's been a year and a half.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And what we're here to talk about is you've had a really exciting quarter, and it's something you've been working on for a few quarters, but you had 3 Pilates studios under the Club Pilates brand. That were always doing well, pumping out a good amount of cash and profit, and you had a great culture, great business. And recently you had sold all 3 for multiple 7-figure take, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And so what I really admire about you and find interesting about you is you don't run the business like a gym owner, you run the business like a businessman. And I think that's important for everybody watching and listening, because if you love cooking and you open a restaurant, you're no longer a cook. You are now an entrepreneur. You're a business owner that offers a service of food service. As soon as you become a gym owner, you're no longer a fitness professional. You're an entrepreneur. And now the service that you offer is fitness and wellness to the community. And when you got these studios, you built them up first. Let's start with the end. So how much revenue were each studio doing?
So I had 3 studios, and each of them were at different phases in their journey. So my oldest one was 7.5 years old.
Okay.
It was producing EBITDA in excess of $50,000 a month.
In EBITDA, meaning profit.
Profit,
yeah. And then top line?
And then top line was doing in excess of $100,000 a month.
$100,000 a month. So you had a 50% profit on that one.
I did, yeah.
Man, and that's why an investor wanted it.
Yes.
Okay. And now you had the other 2 studios that were doing pretty well as well, right?
And similarly, those 2 combined were doing another $50,000 in profit.
Right. So you do about $100,000 a month in profit.
Yeah.
So quick question. Why would one sell it? Is it just you felt like you were being pulled to another opportunity? Is it because you were, going, hey, that was a really fun phase? Or maybe that was your plan the entire time, is to build up an asset and then eventually sell it for more than you paid for it? Like, what was the thing that pulled you away?
I'm a techie as my background. And interestingly, I thought this was going to be my retirement thing, right? Meaning at some point, my wife and I, we were going to end our tech jobs and we were going to go sit at the front desk in the Pilates studio and serve the community, talk to members, have a good time. So this was our long-term plan. But and that was with the one studio. We never really expected to grow beyond.
Yeah.
And then as I started meeting other members of the community, I realized, hey, maybe there is more to this than just the one. So then I acquired 2 more studios. I bought the other 2, but then one I had to rebuild fully from scratch, and then the other was a fire sale in the pandemic. So I acquired those 2 and then got them to profitability within 6 months.
Oh, wait, okay, so let's take it back. So the first one you built from zero.
Yes.
The first one you built from ground up. Is that the one that does 100?
That is the one that does 100.
Okay. So you built that one from the ground up. Have you ever run a Pilates studio or a gym before?
Never, ever.
Okay.
I hadn't even done Pilates before I decided to go into it.
Why? It's just you saw a franchise opportunity. You wanted to get into a franchise?
Yeah, it was. I considered various different types of businesses. On paper, at the time, it showed good return on investment.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But the reality was different when I first got into it. I was overpaying for instructors and salespeople. My rent was high, and my revenues were not keeping up with both of them. But I learned as I went through the business cycle. I learned, and then I adjusted all those components to get to where I got to be.
Okay. So I have a thought, but I'm doing my best to keep them organized. There's a few things I want to talk about all at once. But okay, so you got the first one, started from scratch. The plan was initially me and my wife are going to retire here. We're going to grow old here. We're going to serve the community, and we're just going to make a pretty healthy profit.
Yeah.
And then something got in you, the entrepreneur bug, and you said, or maybe we'll have 2 or 3. And so you got 2 more. One of them you said was a fire sale, meaning like they just got crushed in COVID, and it was a better idea for them to just almost give it away at that point than it was to just keep it going.
Yeah.
Which, what a great opportunity, because how much does a Club Pilates cost to start? I mean, that's got to be $400,000 or $500,000.
Yeah,
maybe
the
like 300,
FTD will say anywhere from 400 to 600 now, I think.
So it's a great deal, right? To not have to pay that. And you already had at least a base of members, I'm assuming, even though it wasn't a lot.
Not a lot. It was not profitable, small base. But I also had instructors, right? Some instructors.
So the hiring part was already taken, because it's not easy to hire. Pilates is a specific thing, right?
That's right.
Like you have to know how to do it. Okay. And then the third one that you got, that wasn't a fire sale. Was that an acquisition?
It wasn't. The third one actually was the second one I purchased, which was 2 weeks before the pandemic hit.
And you didn't know, so it wasn't like there were signs of the pandemic and you
No,
got ahead
nothing
of
at
it.
all. I signed the lease literally Feb 14th, and then the world shut down on March 16th.
Was there a moment of like, what did I do?
I know, it was. It was. And I had to move that studio, as in the building that the studio was in was going to be torn down.
Yeah.
So I moved it someplace else, built it from scratch. Actually built the most beautiful studio in the country, I want to say. At that location, it was a double studio, not many double studios at the time.
Wow.
And it was happened to be right next to our house, which was the decision that got us
was an
there.
easy one, yeah.
You know, I was like, this is right next to us. We can't let this go.
Yeah.
The owner came to us and said, hey, do you want to buy it?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, sure, you know.
Wow. It's funny because the moment you said, what did I do? The person that sold it goes, our timing couldn't have been better.
I know.
Now, in hindsight, right? But like now you look at it and you're like, well, you turned that into a really, really profitable studio that really helped create a portfolio of gyms that ultimately led to a really nice sale. So
I did. And that studio also hit $100K a month.
Wow. Amazing.
Before we done, yeah.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So now, before we dive into like how we got there, because obviously there's a process to building these studios to that point, because you went from 0 to 100 to 1. You went from the other two essentially went up to 100 plus, and they were really almost 0 to 0, right?
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
So the thing I wanted to talk about is there's, so many gyms that I've gotten to work with, and not just gyms, but businesses in general that I've been blessed to like work with. And what I've learned is there's the gym guy that starts a business, and then there's the business guy that starts a gym business.
Yeah.
And then there's the gym guy that starts a business and decides he wants to become the business guy.
Yeah.
The first guy wants to stay the fitness guy.
Yeah.
And they get so romantic about like everything has to be a certain way and it has to be this and it has to be that, because if they can't imagine giving their clients the absolute best fitness results on the planet, then it's not worth it. There's something, it's inferior.
Yeah.
As opposed to going, oh, wow, America's extremely obese. Like we're very out of shape. Anything more than 7 hours of Netflix a week is probably progress.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have to be so perfect. Maybe we just have to do our very best to give something really great that people can stick to and commit to that's better than the couch. The average American right now spends 11 hours on a screen per day. More than 7 or 8 hours of that time is on non-work related stuff, right? So that's just a lot of time. What I think made it easier for you, not necessarily easy, you would think like, wow, this guy he didn't even take a Pilates class. How do you do it? I think that is one of the things that you had to your advantage. My wife's got another business. She got the land investing business. I think we've talked about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not involved in it. I'm on the sidelines. I hear things. She comes to me like with some ideas she wants to work through. But she's got something right now happening in the business. And I'm able to look at it from such a different angle than she is. She's a little romantic with some of the stuff, right? And I'm like, but why? It doesn't make sense. Just do it like this, do it like that, and then that's it. And she's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And we talked about how advantageous it is to have that angle. You came in and just said, look, the numbers look good. Here's what needs to happen for us to be profitable and successful. Now, it doesn't mean you don't want to give a great service. You do. That's part of having a great profitable company. Yep. but you were never the gym guy that started a business around a passion. You were an entrepreneur, and you said, I want to build a business within this space.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still not a gym guy, but I learned Pilates passionately. I truly believed that it is the best thing that everyone, through the end of their lives, have to do.
I remember hearing
right?
you say that a couple times.
It is a full body workout, low impact full body workout, and young people and really old people, right, or really young at heart people,
Injured people.
yeah, injured people can do. Our oldest member was 92 years old.
92.
There was an 85-year-old member that was doing Pilates better than I was, right?
Wow.
So I did start to go through Pilates teacher training, right? But at the end of the day, I still considered the business beyond just the Pilates itself.
Yeah.
And as part of being a good business owner, you have to provide the absolute best product, the best customer service. That's how you're going to get loyal customers that will refer other people to you, right? And that's how you grow a fantastic business.
Yeah.
You gotta want to have people talking about your business to their friends. They come passionately to work out because they enjoy it so much, and they leave feeling really, really happy.
Yeah, and they buy more from you.
And they buy more from us.
So if you can get a member that starts with a one time a week because they want to get their foot in the door and just kind of see if they like it, and all of a sudden they go to 2 to 3, that's because you did such a great product with the one.
That's
or
right.
when you want to sell them ancillary stuff, or I'm certain that probably some of your Pilates instructors started out as members, or maybe some of your employees.
They did.
Right?
They did.
So what a great recruiting tool. So providing a great product is your best marketing tool, because if the product is really good, you don't have to advertise so hard. And if the advertising isn't good, then or if the advertising is really good, you don't have to sell so hard.
Yeah.
The only time you have to sell really, really well is when the advertising doesn't do a good job. The only time you have to advertise really, really well is when the product isn't really that good.
That's right.
So great. I love that. Okay. So when you started this business, what was the first thing? Because obviously it's not like you were like, okay, we have to do it was a franchise. You didn't have to think about the programming and all that stuff. What were like some of the first things that you thought through? And then for everyone listening and watching, just so you know, we're going to take this all the way to the end where we talk about the sale. Like, what was it that you knew you had to do? Maybe some stuff you were doing already, intentionally or unintentionally, in order to be able to get the highest multiple and the highest value for your business. So, but let's start with first.
Yeah.
When you first started it, what did you say? Like, man, I've got to get these things going. I got to get these things in place in order for this business to be like really, really successful.
Yeah. So, to everybody on my team, right? I had a thing that some people made fun of me. I wanted to be famous for fitness.
What do you mean by that?
So when people talk about Pilates and fitness in the community, they should talk about our Club Pilates studios, right? And I have a row house as well. And so they were part of that discussion.
That you still own.
That I still own.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was my vision going forward, be famous for fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And that then translated into actual action items that related to member experiences, the programming that went into the classes, the passion that instructors showed when they came prepared for classes, they taught the classes, and then interacted with members afterwards.
Wow.
And then the same thing towards, with the sales staff. They had to know, they had to take classes, they had to be part of the community.
Now, when you say be famous for fitness, you didn't specifically mean you meant your studio.
I meant my studios, yes.
So for everyone watching, listening, this is really cool. I love that you're talking. I didn't even know that, by the way. I never heard that part.
Yeah. It's in my annual, my 5-year vision, my 3-year plan, my annual plan. We start off.
It's your strategy.
It's my strategy.
So they say a strategy should be inside of 3 to 5 words. And so like if I think the one that I thought was the coolest, I just remember reading a lot about when it was happening and then enjoying seeing it come to fruition, was when Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, said, our strategy is to go mobile. This is back in like 2012, right? Mm-hmm. Go mobile. That's it. That was the strategy. And what that meant was everything that we do is working towards this future where Facebook is on a mobile device, not just on a computer, on a desktop. It's on a mobile device. And so ideas that came in, it was like, well, how does that help us go mobile? People that came in that to apply, it's, can he help us go mobile, or can he not? Is this something else? For you, what that does is that creates a vision, right? And it goes, all right, great. In this case, it's, we are going to be famous for fitness. For Loudermer, it's where the best gyms go to grow. Like that's our vision, right? Everyone, when we started this thing, the first year, we only had 3% of the gyms in our company that were doing $1 million or more. Now it's almost 40%.
Wow.
Almost 40% of our gyms are doing about $1 million a year, right?
Yeah,
So it keeps getting, as far as locations, right? So it's getting really to that vision, and it's getting higher, but that also filters out like who we're going to say yes to. And that doesn't mean we won't say yes to somebody if they're not doing $1 million, but it means like, do you have the potential to get to $1 million, right? If the answer is no, if you're not going to do it, we're going to say no. In your case, you said be famous for fitness. So, and you just gave some examples of that. So what are some things that you knew right off the bat? Like how would you know it was happening?
So one of the measurable things that we looked at was our reviews.
Okay.
So on Yelp, Google, Facebook, we actively focused on getting feedback from our members. So once every 21 days after they take a class, we sent out a text. We didn't want to bombard them. And then if they went off and did their review, then we stopped doing it, right? We have our row house West Seattle studio 5-star reviews, 5-star total average across hundreds of reviews.
Wow.
You know, all of our studios were in excess of 4.5.
Wow.
So that was a measurable bit of activity. The others were engagement within the studio. So when we ran challenges, how much our members engaged? What do they do? What are our members talking about us outside the community? You know, do we get anecdotal feedback from people? We've done a couple of surveys to our members and to our staff. You know, both NPS and eNPS, employee NPS, right?
Yep. And for everybody watching, listening, NPS stands for Net Promoter Score. And it's really just a simple one-question survey, which is how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer us to your friends and family? Yeah. Right? So an NPS would be to your members. An eNPS would be to your employees, employee Net Promoter Score.
That's right.
And that's basically saying how likely are you to refer a friend to come and work here.
That's right.
Right. Okay. Just want to make sure everyone follows.
Yeah. And, you know, alongside that, you know, so that was our overall method of saying, hey, are we in the process of getting to be this place where everybody talks about us?
Yeah.
Right. And we were year one and a half is where we ended finally, right? In terms of employee engagement, we also talked about, hey, our average tenure for employees should go up by at least 6 months over the next year, over the next 2 years, right? And we focused on making sure all employees were positive, all employees were happy. It was, you know, your team is what makes you. As soon as you have the right people, your job becomes much easier.
Yeah.
You know, my team takes me to task. You know, they have full authority to challenge me on anything I say. Some of them will still do whatever I ask them to, and I have to stop myself. But they'll all challenge me. You know, they all have the freedom to say, hey, no, this is not going to work, and this is going to work. But yeah, in terms of famous for fitness, we plowed down that path. It was a great way to get the message succinct, easy to communicate. We did, alongside that, we had our vision, mission, and our core values posted in the office at each studio on large posters.
Yeah.
Now, those were more words and harder to communicate overall.
Yeah.
Right? But they sent the message across that, hey, these are the core values that we will use. And our larger team meetings, we actually started off reviewing those.
When you say reviewing them, how do you do them?
We have slides, and you know, because of the time limits of so many people, because they all work shifts, our studios were open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night. So somebody's always teaching, or they couldn't make it in person. So we do them on Zoom with slides. And so we have a slide for vision mission. We have slides for core values. And of course, our 5-year vision, be famous
That's
for
cool.
fitness.
One of the things that we do at Loudroomer, which is really cool to just keep bringing it in. I used to do it every week, but I feel like the team's so dialed in on it that we probably do it maybe once a month to once every other week, maybe. Just so whenever it feels like there's a little bit more time in the meeting, we'll do it a little bit more often than once a month. But I'll just quiz them and be like, all right, guys, who wants to go first? What is our mission? And then Nick will say something, or I'll go, okay, what's our vision? What's our purpose? And then I'll say, what's one of our values? And then when they get to the values part, let's say Neil was to say FIO and GST, I'll say, great. Give me an example. Who's got an example of somebody on the team that, demonstrated FIO and GST this week? And by the way, FIO and GST stands for figure it out and get shit done. So everybody knows. And then, Patrick might come up and say like, hey, the website went down and, Ash couldn't get a hold of anybody because it was a weekend and she figured it out. She went on ChatGPT and she got it up and running within 12 hours. That would be an example of demonstrating the core value. And so that was a really great way to see it in real life, because I think stories help people remember things more than just words. And so when I can have them tell the stories, it was a lot easier to get them to just constantly stay in them. So that's something that I really, really enjoy doing. I learned that from a mentor of mine that I know he's been doing it for 20 years, and his culture is just across 700 employees. The culture is amazing. And I'm like, all right, if he can do it with 700, I can do it, my employees. So let's do that.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't do it every month, but I did do it at all my quarterly meetings. And then my lead instructors did it in their monthlies.
Okay, cool. So that's better.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be, right? Because the best way to learn something is to teach it. And you want the people that know it the best to be the people that are leading the people.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So we're right now, as you and I are sitting here, it's June 2025. When did you start thinking, maybe we do want to sell these? When did that thought come in to where like it was a serious thought?
Yeah. So, I told you about the fire sale.
Yeah.
So Club Pilates were being let go, right? And over time after the pandemic, people started coming back into gyms, as we all know. And membership boosted, revenue boosted, and it gained the interest of private equity firms.
Yep. A lot of franchises do. Yep.
So when that happened, we started hearing stories about Club Pilates going for many multiples of EBITDA. That's when the first thought occurred, hey, maybe there is an exit there. But it never really entered my mind seriously, right? I was just curious. Hey, good to know that happened, right? About a year ago, I had an accidental health problem, false positive, if you will. That caused me to think about, hey, I should do something, leave something for my family before, something bad happens. It was a wrong thing and everything was fine in the end, but that made me think about the pros and cons a little more seriously. And it was only the thought process that when I started doing the pros and cons, I realized, hey, there is more to this than not. So I should then really seriously consider it. But even then, I was like, hey, maybe I'm going to sit on it for a little while.
Yeah, it's a drastic, right?
Yeah. But all this time, like throughout the years, when you have happy members, like you said, they'll come and become salespeople and instructors. Some of our best team members were our actual gym members, right? Members started approaching me to buy a single studio at a time.
Wow.
Also instructors who wanted to go maybe set up their own. They were like, hey, would you ever be willing to sell this?
So you just start taking it as signs?
Then I started taking it as a sign for, hey, would I do this? And then for me, if I was going to exit, I was going to exit all three. It didn't make sense for me to leave only one or two because the scale for me really worked when I hit 3. All my systems were in place. Everything was running smoothly. And if I let one go, it would disrupt.
Well, you have leverage once you get to 3, too. If a manager, parts ways, you can move things around.
And I always cross-train. People are willing to go back and forth between studios. Instructors already do.
Yeah.
So I really then weighed out my pros and cons. I was also mentally getting to a point. There was a lot of competition coming into the business. Pilates suddenly became the in thing. Actors and actresses the world over were doing this.
Right.
People started coming in and getting into it, and what that did was my payroll went up dramatically because competition was pulling away my instructors.
Yeah.
And that's when I seriously began to think, hey, I'm grinding here. I'm beginning to grind. I'm at the peak of where I am right now. At least I thought so. I think it'll still do well in the near future. So I said, hey, I could take a good exit and then go do my next thing, right? So that's when I seriously got into exploring.
And at what point, again, now it's June 2025, at what point was it like, okay, so what's the next step? And then you began the actual process, whether it was listing it or having serious conversation with brokers or whatever it was?
It was roughly a year ago.
Okay.
I had another person make a casual inquiry. Hey, I'm just interested in learning about Pilates. Can you help answer some questions, right? And I'm always open to people want to talk about business or Pilates or really anything. I'm happy to mentor people wanting to improve, right? So that conversation led into, hey, would you be willing to sell them? And I'm like, yeah, I'm exploring. So that actually became my first offer.
Okay.
And it was a really good number. And we worked through that. And then alongside, there was a private equity firm that was interested. Then they came along and made offers. And then I had a broker who I met through Loud Rumor, actually, that then approached me and said, hey, I'm happy to get you a better number than you can get by yourself. I'm like, sure, okay, these are my numbers. So he went off and got me a really awesome multiple.
Wow.
Based off, of what's in the current market.
Better than what you had?
Better than what I
you
had.
were able to get?
Yeah, better than what I had. I had some interesting things going on with one of my companies being structured as a C corp, and so that I was able to parlay into better tax liability.
Right.
I had a really awesome number at the end.
I love that. Okay, so now what are some things that you had to personally, I mean, you may not have had to change things that you were already doing because you had the businesses running without you having to be there. So in order to improve the valuation of a company, there's a few things that have to be done, right? Number one, you have to make sure that there's a healthy profit showing consistently over time. Because if it's profitable for 4 or 5 months.
At least the last 12 months.
Yeah, at least the last 12, but they prefer two years.
Yeah.
The other thing is I have to know that it's running without you having to be there, right? Because if you're out and you are a big piece of this, like it's going to be a really, really big problem.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing has to do with the marketability of the product. Like, is this something that is trending up, trending down? Seems like stable? Which Pilates just seem to be booming, if anything. I'm noticing more and more studios that we're working with that are Pilates studios are just doing really well, really good numbers.
Yeah.
So you had all three of those, or at least I feel like you did. Is there any changes that you had to start making or any adjustments that you had to start making to prepare you for a better sale number? Or do you feel like you had it and you just had to maintain and demonstrate it?
Yeah. So back when I got my first real interest in all three, right, I went and did the rolling 12-month P&L, the last 12 months. And one of the key things I did there was to do all the add backs, right, which is a very important thing that owners may or may not know.
Let's dive into add backs.
Yeah.
What's an add back for people?
So an add back is an expense that you might have that the other person might not have, right? So a really easy example is if you took out a loan on a business, that's your loan. That's how you managed to invest in the company.
Car payment
Car payment is an example, or just a loan for the business itself.
Yeah.
that's not a thing that person is, it should be an operating expense. It is not an operating expense.
Right.
Right. And so you add that amount back into the profit that you draw at the end of the day. And that increases your overall profit that you show in your P&L. And in theory, if that person doesn't have a loan, his profit should be the same.
Yeah.
Other things like, I even added back my annual holiday party and my summer picnic I added back.
Yeah, because that's not required.
That's not required.
Right.
Any training that you go to.
Coaching, like you being in our membership here.
That's right. My Loud Room or membership fees were in my ad backs.
Yeah.
Travel to the shows, right?
Yep.
Was in the ad backs.
Did you create a management company and run the ad backs through that, or did you just separate them completely and just like keep it as a separate log entry?
Yeah. So I did have management fees on my C Corp.
Okay.
And that was a way in which the C Corp was getting lesser in terms of tax. And then the other companies were actually managing, if you will, the C Corp itself.
Okay.
But
now,
I did not set up a separate structure for it. I was doing them individually.
Okay, cool. Now, what I'm going to feel, I do my best to feel as a host here. My feel is that there's going to be people listening right now and they're going like, oh yeah, I don't understand this. I just need to know how to get more leads. Okay, pay attention now because this is a very important piece. If you're looking to eventually sell the business or keep the business, it doesn't matter. Your job as a CEO is to make it as valuable as possible, period. Yeah. Whether you get to keep it, you want something more valuable, or whether you want to sell it, you want to get the highest return on it. So the management, the restructuring of all this, what you're saying, the strategy that we're discussing when we say management fee is rather than running a car payment, or if you hire a coach, a business coach, or you go to a seminar, or you have a loan on the business or whatever, all these things that you're running through the business, because technically I get it. It is a business expense. You're absolutely right. It is a business expense. But what happens is if I'm looking to buy your business, the more things that I have to get explained, the more nervous I get, the more reluctant I am to like make a move. However, if everything's clean and I go, are there any ad backs, which a buyer is going to ask, a sophisticated buyer is going to ask, are there any ad backs? If you were to say, yep, just this one management fee right here, that's it. Now, what that would mean is you as the owner of the business, you could start a separate company. It's really easy. You just, how long did it take you to set up an LLC for the new business? What was it like?
I don't know, less than 20 minutes on a plane.
20 minutes on a plane, which would be like 10 minutes of normal Wi-Fi, right? So in 20 minutes, you go online, you set up a separate LLC, and you set up a bank account, and you just set up the business as a very simple step. And you go, okay, this is a management company. Call it Management Co. USA, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Then the company, in your case, Club Pilates, would pay this new company, as if it was paying an ad agency or anybody else, a monthly fee. And that monthly fee was enough money to cover the things that you would typically have as individual expenses through the company card. So now your car payment would go through the management company. That management company would have a credit card or a bank account that would pay for your car payment. It would pay for your travel, for your business trips. It would pay for business lunches. It would pay for all that stuff. And this way, the only thing that's on the business P&L that you're looking to sell are things that are required in order to operate this business in the way that in which they want to run it.
Yep.
That's it. And so now, as a buyer, I go, are there any ad backs? That seller would say, yep, just that one, the management fee. What about car payment? Yep, everything I run through here. Well, what about trips, travel, coaching? Yep, everything's run through here. Holiday, everything's run through here. Everything. So just so you know, other than that one fee, take that out. This is your company. That's it. And as a buyer, I go, well, that's easy. It makes me just so much more confident.
Yeah. I was not smart enough to do that initially, but I did add all the ad backs that I needed to.
You organize them.
Yeah, I organized them. Your way is actually much better because when I did ad backs for 3 companies, each time somebody asked me for a P&L, and it's monthly, right?
Yeah.
Each month I got to go back and add those back in. That personally took me a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, if I had the one management company, it would have taken me very little time to.
Well, But again, in hindsight, you're like, oh, so I got to go start a company right now. Yeah, I know. It's going to take you 10 minutes. And you have to go to the bank for maybe an hour. And then you're going to have to, I get it.
Well,
I
I
get
had to
it.
move then all the payments over to the new company.
And you got to move the payments
Yeah.
over. So maybe it would take you a total of a half a day to get it done.
Yeah.
Right. But once it's done, then all down the road, you don't have to do all the organizing. But
Lesson learned for me, you know.
hey, I learned my lesson that way too. So, okay. So you got it all organized. You go, okay, so this is the company's profit. Was there a certain like target you were aiming for as far as multiple? And how did you determine that multiple? Is there a certain formula or is what you saw a going rate as? Is it for Pilates? Is it for fitness? What did you see?
Yeah. So I was, a lot of these are hearsay sometimes. So you want to be careful about what you really believe, right? Some friends will tell you real things, maybe, but most
At
of
the end
them,
of the day, it always depends on the buyer anyway.
yeah,
It doesn't
depends.
matter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Every sale depends on what a buyer is willing to pay for your business.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
No.
Right? There was a loud rumor retreat actually where I discussed with one of the members. He had done a full analysis of the gyms in the US, different types of gyms. And over the past year, hundreds of them actually, what valuations each of them sold for.
Okay.
So that was a good starting point for me to assess that my gyms are in the general good range, right? Any business, if you take out in the world, people will say, hey, 2 times to 3 times EBITDA. But you can also get people who are retiring walking away from their businesses. And just because they want to keep their legacy going,
Right.
they'll just give it to you to run successfully.
Right.
You know, on the high end, if it's really valuable and there's high demand, you get multiple higher multiples overall.
And sometimes it's on the other side where they have secondary or third agendas for that. Maybe they see your customer base. You're like, well, I can also sell them this.
That's right.
Right. So or if they have 5 other Club Pilates already, this can increase the overall. What I do want to dive into that in a second too.
Yeah.
So multiples, in case people aren't following what we mean by that. There's multiples on revenue, multiples on profit. It just depends on the type of model that you're in. In our model, it's typically multiples on profit or EBITDA to be more sophisticated, right? Multiples on EBITDA, which stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
That's right.
It's a fancy word for profit. You don't have to do that math right now. But the point is there's multiples on that. And typically, the higher the profit, and depending on the sector and the demand, you might get a 1.5x multiple, meaning if your profit is doing 100 grand a year, you might get 150 grand for the business. You might get a 3x multiple, which means if your business is doing 100 grand, you might get $300,000. But what I've learned through have you ever heard of Roland? Oh yeah, Roland. Roland Frazier. So Roland Frazier, he wrote a book called Zero Down, and I learned so much from him on buying and selling businesses. And what he taught me was the power of the size of the portfolio. Or the customer base or overall revenue. So if let's say you buy one studio, well, I might buy one studio for a 1.5 or 2x multiple. But if you have 3, well, that minimizes my risk. So I might pay a 3 to 5x multiple for something like that. But if I already have 10 studios and you're going to give me 3, I could buy 3 from you. Even though the going rate might be 3 to 5x multiple, I might pay 6 or 7x multiple, because that gives me now a 9x multiple with all of my studios.
That's right.
So for everyone, if you need to rewind that, feel free to rewind it. But ultimately, it does depend on the buyer. You never know who the buyer is and what their agenda is. It might just be more than taking it over and having it as a retirement plan.
That's right. That's right. So in the data that I got, the numbers were basically similar.
Okay.
Exactly what you said, in fact. For something in low EBITDA, you were getting 1.5x sometimes to 1.5 to 2x.
Right.
As the EBITDA increased, as the profit increased, the multiples increased. And so having a larger portfolio meant you could get 10x to 12x sometimes of your EBITDA. And so my 3 fell in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And so I roughly knew then that, hey, it's a good for me, the way the offers that I was getting, they're excellent, they're good. I could have done better maybe, but I was happy where I was, and I was ready to move on as well and explore further
Yeah.
things. So that is a personal thing as well. So one of the things you want to come to the realization is it's not just a data game, because this is something you built from scratch. You know every nail in the wall.
Yeah.
You know everything that is in the studio, right? And it's your baby. And you don't want to let go of it for a certain number in your mind.
Yeah.
That may not be the reality of the industry
Right.
or the business at that moment in time. You could grow your business to then get there to the
Yeah.
number you want. So you got to consider that, and be willing to let go of it at some point.
That's amazing. Now, what I want to know is the process of it. So let's say person's listening right now and they go, okay, I'm convinced I'm doing a decent amount of profit as well. Or maybe I plan on it because I got some really good things that are working. And I do eventually want to exit my business. Well, everyone's going to exit no matter what, whether it's by death or sale or bankruptcy or something, right? But I plan on selling my business. Okay. So how do you go about it? Did you go to the franchise and say, hey, look, I'm looking to sell? Did you go private, meaning you just reach out to certain contacts you think would be interested? Did you list private? Did you go to a broker first? Like, what was the first move? And then if you could do it again, what would you do differently in order to accelerate it or just make it more efficient for yourself?
Yeah, great question. So the way I went about it, I was getting offers, right? Like I said, members were interested, instructors were interested, and there were other people who were simply reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and asking, are you
Without
willing to-
you listing or
without
saying,
me listing, saying anything, just happening, right? And that piqued my interest enough to then go off and say, hey, what if I did explore an offer?
Yeah.
And so I did that. I simply explored an offer that came to me, right? One of the things I learned is you don't want to be selling when you want to be selling.
I totally understand what you're saying. So the best time to sell is when it's the best time to keep.
Yeah. Yeah, because your business is doing so well that you might as well just keep it, right?
Right.
But that's the time when you're not desperate.
Yeah.
Is probably the right time to sell. You have a leg up in negotiating.
Right.
You're not saying, hey, why is this not selling? It can get to hard, basically waiting. And I have another story later about that. But you want to be selling when it's in high demand, and you don't want to be the person initiating the sale. But given that you do want to sell at some point,
it's a huge advantage to not have to do the sale.
Do not have to do it. So I explored a couple of offers that just simply came to me. In the end, I did go to a broker who had more contacts and was able to reach out.
And understood the difference between a serious buyer and maybe somebody that was wanting to throw out a low ball offer just to see if they can steal something.
That's right. I also realized that there was one of the offers that I got. I knew that I was being out negotiated while I was on the phone negotiating with him.
Wow.
Right?
How so?
So I've taken enough negotiating classes. I have an MBA. I've done well. I've done wins in the negotiation. I mean, both sides have to win-win, right?
Right.
And
both sides have to lose a little
both
bit.
Both sides that. But if a deal doesn't happen, you both lose.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And so I knew enough of the techniques. And at that time, I knew the guy was walking me through a series of things that I knew I was going to come out on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
I actually did end up on the wrong side of the amount that I wanted on that.
Okay.
So skill set, right? So that's why having a broker really helped me stay away from that conversation and have that be done without me knowing, all the details of all the
It's what he does all
conversations.
day, every day.
That's right. That's right. And negotiating is not the only thing. You have to be responsive. You have to have the right documents to send at the right time. It takes your time away from running the business.
Which could ultimately hurt because now all of a sudden, and this I've seen this a lot too, somebody goes to sell the business, they make a decision, and so they get so like drenched in the work that's involved to selling the business that the business actually starts to suffer. By the time they actually have some interested buyers in the phone, the business is worth a few $100,000 less than it was 6 months ago.
That's right. That's exactly right. In my case, you asked me an initial question first, which was, how do you build up a system where the business will run without you, right? So I did have a system set up where I had a VA who I call my director of operations.
Okay.
And
A virtual assistant.
a virtual
Where's she
assistant.
located?
He is located in the Philippines.
Okay, just so
Yeah.
you guys know, that's the biggest expense right now on the P&L for almost all service-based businesses is labor by a good amount. And so one of the advantages that you've got, and you've actually helped a few people get VAs as well,
I
right?
have. I do have another company on the side now, which places virtual assistants in gyms and really helping gym owners and entrepreneurs scale.
By the way, before we forget, how can they connect with you on that?
Info@seamlessassist.com.
Seamless Assist.
Yeah, so I had set up my business without me having to be in it regularly.
Okay.
And so it was running well, but it was taking time. That thing was taking a lot of time.
Okay.
I went through the process of myself, get a broker, right? Ended up being successful through the broker in the end.
Okay.
Right?
So if you could start over, would you start with the broker?
So I don't know if I would still start with the broker, right? And we'll build and sell other businesses in the future, right? But sometimes it depends. I think it depends on where you are in your business, what kind of interest you're seeing in the business itself, and who your buyers are, and whether or not you have the time to actually invest in completing the sale yourself.
Okay.
So I may or may not use a broker in the future, but having a broker really helped me. And for people who've not done it previously, definitely go with the broker.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would also do in the future is see if we can have multiple bids, and that will actually boost your offers overall.
Yeah, because you're competing. Now the buyers are competing.
That's right.
By the way, too, the guy I recommend to you, his name is Mitch, but you didn't just get a business broker. You got one that specializes in gyms.
That's right.
Which is a big deal because the contacts are much more saturated.
Yeah, you mentioned Mitch McGinley, good broker. That's who I used.
Yeah.
And so
let him know that Sheetal and Mike RC sent you.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing before we go, because now that you're a free man, I mean, you still got your row house, but it probably feels so different without having 3 Club Pilates. You started another business, which I actually took interest in. I decided I wanted to invest in it, and it's for the future. So for everybody watching and listening right now, I put out a video not long ago on Instagram, and it was about AIO, which is artificial intelligence optimization. We all know SEO, or hopefully you've heard of SEO before, which is the process in which you take in order to manipulate certain things online about your presence so that when people are searching for a solution that you offer, your listing, your company comes up first on Google, or at least very top. Well, now with ChatGPT and tools like that, Perplexity, Gemini, Grok, there's all these tools that are coming out, and there's going to be more of them, and they're going to get better.
Yeah.
Right now, the 18 to 24 age group, 40% of them report using ChatGPT daily. My daughter and my son, who are 14 and 18 right now, they think going to Google to find a solution is old person style.
Right.
Like it's like using Facebook for them, right?
Yeah.
So like the other day I was like, hey, where do you want to go get sushi? That's what I said. I go, where do you want to go get sushi? We were driving, me and my daughter. And she's like, I don't care. I was like, well, see what's around here. And she's like, okay. And she opens up her phone. I go, just go to Google. And she goes, ew. And I go, what do you mean, ew? She's like, I'm going to ChatGPT. I was like, why? She's like, because I want to make sure they have my Tootsie Roll or whatever roll that it was.
That's right.
She wanted a specific.
It keeps your interests in mind when it recommends your
100%. So she was like, do they have this, right? And that now it'll scour as opposed to you having to go through Google, look through their menu, do all that stuff. It just does it.
Yeah.
So we at Loudroom are already starting to get a decent amount of leads from people saying, I found you on ChatGPT, or ChatGPT recommended you. And because we teach a lot of this at Loudroom, or a lot of our members are starting to get leads from ChatGPT as well. But what you're doing is you're actually creating a company that combines SEO and AIO
That's right.
to help people not only get found through whatever they're doing on search engines, but also on ChatGPT, because there's a whole different unique set of things that you have to do in order to get that to happen.
That's right. Yeah. So, like you were saying, while you were taping that video, we were experimenting on the side with this as well. When somebody goes and searches you up, or just a service up, right? I want some help gym coaching, or I want to join a gym in ChatGPT or any of the other AI engines now, right?
Yeah.
Grok, Gemini, etc. That engine has to then go and find your gym first, or at least be one of the options it recommends. And these are based off of the learning that it has. So we went in, and we are now starting the process of testing and making sure that we can update what the AI system knows to match you easily when somebody searches. So updating the schema within the AI system,
Right.
updating the right keywords on your website. So it's a combination of SEO and AIO, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So we are in the process of making a product out of it, and creating and making it easy for gym owners and other entrepreneurs to really come and, be the first people that, that are found.
And the reason I wanted to invest and take interest in this business, because this is the future.
It is the future, yeah.
In 2022, I created a video. It was November 2022 when ChatGPT first came out. I went bananas, and I went live, and it's still on our YouTube channel. And I said that AI is going to be bigger than fire. It's going to be more moving to the human race and to the world than fire was. And there was just a 60-minute segment. I don't know if you saw it. It was maybe like a month ago or within the month. And they had some of the world-leading AI experts on, and they asked them, how big of an impact do you think AI is going to have on humanity? He said, bigger than anything else, bigger than electricity. And so right now it's hard to fathom. We look at ChatGPT, we're like, oh, it's a better way to do our homework, or to find a way to write an email. Right now that's the beginning of it. Just like when electricity was like, oh, we could turn on a light bulb. And now, like, this whole room's lit up by electricity. I mean, you have planes in the air going through electricity. You got electric cars. So just think AI is going to be so much bigger. And what it's doing is creating a deeper level of connection using everything it knows about you.
Yeah.
And so when you say in the future, I'm hungry, it's going to know exactly what restaurant you want, what meal you want from that restaurant, where to send it to you based on your current location, and when it should probably send it to you based on, your calendar. Like, it's wild.
Now, imagine that same thing when somebody says, I want to go work out today, or I'm looking for a new gym, right? You want that to be your gym that shows up.
Right. Especially, because let's say I were to say, hey, I'm looking for a gym, and my wife were to say, I'm looking for a gym, based on everything we've ever done on ChatGPT and all the things we do online, it might recommend to my wife this really cool dance fitness type thing, because that's what she's into. It might recommend to me more like athlete type gym, because it knows that I really like playing basketball and boxing and all that stuff.
Yep.
And for the gym owner, that's great, right? Because it means more of the right people getting recommended, as opposed to the user on Google having to determine what they think might be a good fit.
Yep.
You're getting connected with more of the right people in the community. I think it's great. So,
and all that is possible only when the AI model knows about you.
Exactly. So, and that's where people are falling short.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff that you do is helping people create a lot of the content that is going to be important to connect people. So
that's right.
FAQ spots on their website, and just making sure there's constant content being put out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this. Where can people learn about that, or talk to you, or whatever?
Yeah. So we have a brand new website. It's live, but it's under construction.
Right.
4leafclover.ai is our company.
Okay. Was it the number 4 or the word?
The number 4. So 4leaf clover, the number 4 leafclover.ai, which, is these are so rare, and we're helping you find these. Right. So in the midst of 10,000 gyms in your area, we want to make sure, or 10,000 businesses in your area, we want to make sure your business gets found.
Right.
So we don't have all it's a new product that we're working on. It's not fully set up yet. So people can reach me at Sheetal at seamlessassist.com.
Can you spell that?
Yeah, SHEETAL
Okay.
at seamlessassist.com.
Okay. Perfect.
For now. And then as we roll out, we'll get specific to 4-leaf clover.
Sounds great, brother. Ben, congrats on the sale. Congrats on everything you're doing, the new businesses, everything. I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing as much as you did.
Thank you. This was a great conversation, and I look forward to success for all your gym owners at Loud Rumor and at GST.
Perfect. For everybody watching, listening, if you liked the episode, go ahead and leave us a review. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.